The sport that earns the most money for colleges and universities is football. Kirby Smart of the Georgia Bulldogs is the highest paid coach in college football. What's going on, guys? I hope you are doing well. Thank you for clicking on this video. And if the title alone brought you here, well, we're about to talk about it. Is Coach Prime worth $11 million? Well, the answer to that could be very simple to some, but not necessarily complicated. But I guess let's go ahead and say complicated to others. There's a few ways to look at this, and we're going to take a look at all the different angles that this could be perceived. So stay tuned. Right after my intro, we're going to answer this question, or at least attempt to. Harry B, roll the intro. Let's go.
BWB. Bandwagon Buffs.
That's right. It's your man's Harry Billion. Please do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Make sure to give me the thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you can get the videos as soon as I upload it to YouTube. All right, family, I got to go ahead and get into this video real quick. So that's all the business I got. You know what time it is. Let's work. All right, so this video right here is from Well Off Media. I would like to say shout out Bucky and Well Off Media for this day one workout with the new team, the new look Buffs for the 2025 season. My guy Patrick Swayze, his name is not Patrick, it's Andrew. Okay. But Patrick Swayze is about to get them in shape, make sure that they are ready for 2025. But that's not why we're here. We're here because there's some chatter going on online about Coach Prime's contract. Online, offline, in different chat groups, on different pages, depending on who your favorite YouTuber is. I'm glad you're here. I may not be your favorite, but I'm glad you're here to at least listen to what I have to say. So why don't we just dig right into it? Let's go. All right, so these guys had a little something to say about Coach Prime's contract. So let's go ahead and take a listen to them. And let's see what they had to say about it. Uncle Neely, Scoop, and Big Dog Chico. What up, guys?
We have to talk about what Deion Sanders brings to the table. And I think that number is north of 11. If Kirby Smart is at 13, and if someone is proposing less than 9, dog, that's insulting.
I guarantee you on every Saturday, you can see Colorado play football in Atlanta, Georgia.
It's the same thing I was saying about offering him an incentive-laden contract. Nowhere in the history of him signing contracts, the Braves, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Ravens, the Yankees, Cincinnati baseball team, you name it, has this brother been in an incentive position. Like, he is who he is, he brings to the table, he brings to the table. And for some people out there, I don't care if you're on ESPN or in this chat, if you're thinking that Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, is doing this for leverage, you just ain't been watching. You don't know him.
All right, so let's talk about this a little bit. Like I said in the beginning, the answer to this question, it could be very easy depending on who you are. There are a couple of people to consider in this answer. If you are a Deion Sanders fan and you're here on TLP Sports Club listening to me talk, around here we call ourselves BWB, Bandwagon Buffs. All right, that's who we are around here, because we were not Colorado fans before Coach Prime came to Colorado, but now we are. So we just naturally were Bandwagon Buffs. Okay, if you heard that anywhere else, they're a fraud. The Bandwagon Buffs originate from TLP Sports Club. Trust me. Anyway, we're going to lay that to the side for a second. So if you are a Coach Prime fan, not necessarily a natural Colorado fan, then you would say it's real simple. And some would say, I feel offended for you to even ask the question whether Coach Prime deserves to be paid $11 million. He would be like, yo, Harry B, why are you being disrespectful? Without even hearing me out on what I had to say on this video. Be like, yo, oh, here he goes again, being disrespectful. Does Coach Prime deserve $11 million? Who is this guy? But like I said, hear me out. Depends on who you are. If you are a Coach Prime fan, unequivocally, yes, Coach Prime deserves $11 million or even more. Think about Coach Prime's value. Think about what he brings to the table, what he has infused into the local economy in Colorado. All right. His value is up there, bringing millions and millions of dollars to the table. Let me ask you all a question. What is the reason why certain coaches are hired, or why do they go after specific coaches at universities or at programs? Put your answers in the comments. Let me see what you think the reason why coaches are hired. Now that you've recorded your answers in the comments, let me tell you why. Number one is to bring a winning culture to the university. There are incentives for that winning culture. I would say revenue is going to be the leading cause, the reason why you bring in a specific coach to your program. You want them to establish a culture and a winning attitude with your university. So I had to use ChatGPT on this one. Which sport earns the most money for colleges and universities? The sport that earns the most money for colleges and universities is football, particularly at schools with major programs in the NCAA Division I Football Bowl subdivision. That's FBS, where Colorado is located. Football generates significant revenue through ticket sales, media rights deals, sponsorships, licensing, and donations. Key reasons football dominates in revenue generation. Number one is going to be media rights. Broadcast and streaming rights for college football games, particularly for major conferences in general, the SEC, Big Ten, and Big 12, bring in billions of dollars annually. Ticket sales. Large stadiums like Michigan Stadium or the University of Texas, DKR Texas Memorial Stadium can host over 100,000 fans, bringing in substantial gate revenue. Sponsorships. High-profile games, bowl games, and playoffs attract lucrative sponsorship deals. Number 4 is going to be merchandising. Football programs often drive the sales of team apparel and merchandise. Number 5 is donations. Successful football programs tend to attract alumni and booster donations to fund athletics and other institutional initiatives. I guess a close second would be basketball. Basketball, particularly men's basketball, comes in second, with programs like those in the NCAA's March Madness tournament earning substantial revenues for their schools. However, football's scale and reach typically outpaces all other sports. Put a pin in that. Keep that in mind as we continue to discuss this. Why it's important depending on which scope you're looking at this from. This is not just about, oh, you're disrespecting Prime. Why would you even ask the question? Why would you say this? It's not just about that. Okay, this has nothing to do with emotions. It's all about business. Your BWB or your Coach Prime fan, however you consider yourself, if you're in that category, it's an easy answer. If you're not a Colorado fan and you're just a football fan, whether you like Prime or you hate Prime, a lot of people are going to consider the football reason. The football reason is a little bit different than you are a Coach Prime fan and you know what Coach Prime is worth. So the people that are looking at this from a football perspective, they're going to ask the questions. How are you going to pay Prime and he hasn't done X, Y, and Z? What are the X, Y, and Z's? Win the conference, go to the playoffs. If you make a bowl, win the bowl game. Has Coach Prime done any of those things? You can answer that for yourself. This is not about me or you getting mad at me or anything like that. I want you to answer that question. This is now talking about the football people. If you are a Coach Prime fan or a BWB bandwagon buff, you already know where we stand at. This is our guy. We're going to uphold our guy no matter what. If you are a football fan, however, your perspective and your POV is coming from a football standpoint. Let's look at something that they would look at. The football people that are looking at this, they will look at this metrics. I just want to preface this by saying, hey, even though ChatGPT is now including these guest reference points, all right, sometimes the information may not be as accurate. So I know, some of y'all data people out there that like to check people. You can check these yourself and just let me know if something is off. Let me know. As of the 2024 college football season, the highest paid head coaches and their annual salaries are as follows. Kirby Smart of the Georgia Bulldogs is the highest paid coach in college football. Most would say, and deservingly so. $13.28 million. Dabo Swinney from Clemson, $11.5 million. Lincoln Riley of USC, $11 million. Steve Sarkisian of Texas, $10.3 million. Kalen DeBoer, Alabama, $10 million. Ryan Day of Ohio State, $10.021 million. Brian Kelly, LSU, $9.975 million. Mark Stoops, Kentucky, $9.013 million. Mike Norvell, Florida State, $9.8 million. Josh Hupel of Tennessee, and if I pronounce that name incorrectly, please forgive me, $9 million. Those are the top 10 highest paid coaches in the college football arena. If you saw the last video that I made about the Big 12 coaches' salaries compared to Coach Prime's salary, I want you to go watch that video if you're interested. Go and watch that video. Why did I bring you here? I brought you here because the people that are actually the football people that don't care either way, whether they hate Coach Prime, don't hate Coach Prime, they're going to be having a different conversation. Either it's going to be their winning record, it's going to be that they have won bowl games, they have won their conferences. So there's going to be some similarities about these coaches and why they are paid what they are paid. So those conversations are all going to be strictly about his performance as a coach. They don't care. Those people do not care, how much he's done for the economy, the students' GPA being 3.0, the yada, 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 all of that. They don't really care about all of that. Those sentimental things that we hold as value when it's concerning Coach Prime. Most of those people don't care about that. How do you justify $11 million if he hasn't done those things? These are winning coaches that we're looking at right now. Kirby Smart, Dabo Swinney. With every conversation, there are nuances. The fact that the coach is a brand in himself, I don't know if you're a football fan, you should also consider that, because some coaches have specific personalities that will bring a fan base in, either because of their winning ways, as you as a Nick Saban fan or you are a Lincoln Riley fan. If Lincoln Riley was to get up and leave USC and he went to a different school, you would probably follow him because you like his coaching style. So yes, there are coaches that have personality, they have a certain way of coaching or doing things, and people will follow them. You have to consider that. That consideration, for the most part, does not register on the Richter scale. For the lack of a sports terminology, what registers is how many games has he won? How many bowl games has he won? How many championships does he have? You feel me? Has he made the playoffs? Is he in the postseason? Do we talk about this team in the sense that this is one of the best teams in college football? Will we watch them in November, December, and January? Those are mostly the questions that they're going to be asking. All this sentimental stuff about kids' GPAs and, he infused a lot of money into the local economy. All of those things that we as Coach Prime fans care about doesn't really matter to this group of people. There's a third group now, the final group, the most important group. That group comprises of a few people that make decisions for Colorado. It's going to be the Board of Regents at Colorado that's going to decide who gets hired, who gets fired, how much to pay. And those people, the way that they think about this is going to be a little bit more conservative than the BWBs, the regular college folks. How are they thinking about this? They're going to consider everything. Why do they hire certain coaches? The answer to that question, the number one reason is going to be revenue, because college football, like we went over, generates the most money. Then you're bringing in a coach to be able to get as much of that money as possible. That's why you hire the coach. That coach that you're bringing in is going to help you to, when you start winning football games, you're going to gain more of a fan base, which is going to bring more revenue. The more you win, the more notoriety you get, and the more national attention you garner for that university. And then you sell more merch. You keep winning, more fans add to the fan base, more money is being generated. When does that usually happen? You would say about 2 to 5 years. If you win bowl games, you share the pot, right? If that thing is supposed to be $10 million, you split it with whoever is in that conference. Keep generating more revenue. That's how it works. This is the unique thing about the BWBs and the Coach Prime fans and how we look at things. The thing about it is Coach Prime leapfrogs all of that. So that's the value of Coach Prime. Because the 2 to 5 years that it's going to take for this coach to instill his culture, that winning attitude, that winning thing that he brings to the table with his staff and, Patrick Swayze over here, everybody that he brings. The thing about Coach Prime is that his brand, his personal brand comes with that. He comes with the fan base. He comes with the merch sales. Everything that you wanted to generate within 2 to 5 years of hiring a decent or a good coach, Coach Prime does that from 21 Jump Street right away. That's what he brings to the table. So if you are the Board of Regents, you are Colorado, when you are making your decisions, those are the things that should be on the table. It's all about economics. If we bring in a coach, let's say a different coach, we say, Coach Prime, we can't afford that $11 million. We can't afford to make you one of the highest paid coaches in college football. You really haven't been proven yet as far as what happens on the football field. We get everything that you're doing for the university and for the local economy, but you haven't really proven that if we let you go, we're essentially letting go just roughly $200 million that you can just generate just from your namesake alone. You're selling out the stadium. You're selling a bunch of merch. People are coming to the games from all around the country, internationally. So your brand associated with Colorado brings in a lot of revenue. That usually doesn't happen for a regular coach until after a couple of years and actually proving himself to be a winner. Most coaches don't have a personal brand that starts to generate money right away. You usually have to win football games and grow the fan base in order for that to transpire. But with Coach Prime, you get that immediately. When Coach Prime went to Rick George and he said, hey man, I need more money for NIL and for my staff. Keep in mind that the report never says Coach Prime was asking for more money for himself. The information that comes out, nobody has ever come out to say Coach Prime is a selfish person. All of the reports that comes out from friends, foes, and everybody else, this man is a selfless person. He wants to promote everybody, and we can see that. He wants everybody to win. He always says, like, look, he's straight up front with these kids. Not all of y'all are going to the NFL. That's why we have to make sure that you get a great education while you're here. He's selfless. Let's just be safe and just say he's inclusive for the haters. All right? He's very inclusive. If you can't see that, then you're too far gone in your hateration that right now you're just drinking grape juice without any grape. Okay, so you're just drinking hot water for no reason in the summertime. You're that much of a hater. I don't know how accurate this is, but this is the amount of NIL that was spent on their roster. Number 1, Oregon, $23 million. Texas with $22.2 million. Ohio State, $20.2 million. LSU, $20 million. Georgia, $18.3 million. Texas A&M, $17.2 million. Michigan, $16.3 million. And Alabama, $16 million. So think about that. In order for Coach Prime to compete with those schools and to be able to put a product on the field that's going to be able to compete with those guys, he needs money. Rick George or the Board of Regents, the way that they're thinking about this, can we afford this? Keep in mind that Colorado was in the red and is probably still in the red. The money that Colorado is generating through the football program, the amount is refreshing to Colorado. It's great. The football program was not that great for years. You don't generate that much money. Colorado just charged for the spring game $10. Before then, they were giving it away for free and they couldn't give it away. Again, if you have other teams, other sporting teams, the men's and women's basketball team, not too shabby. They have soccer, not too shabby. And word on the street is they're looking for a baseball coach. So that means that they're about to add baseball. Coach Prime is a former professional baseball player. I'm sure he's been behind the scenes trying to get baseball at Colorado since he got there. They have other teams. So that money has to be spread out. When they go to their games, they're not taking an Uber. They're flying airplanes. They have to eat. Hotels. So that money is spread out. So now that they're getting this money in, millions and millions of dollars in, that money is going towards all the other teams and then to take care of some other things that they've been in the red for. They're talking about different things. The Board of Regents. Can they afford to do that? Can they afford to give Coach Prime $11 million? Some people are thinking if he's not going to stay, we give him this amount of money and he leaves, where does that leave us? Coach Prime's brand, his personal brand, Prime, is almost synonymous with Colorado. So that brand, if that brand leaves, the BWBs and a lot of Coach Prime fans are going to also leave. If that happens, where does that leave Colorado? It's all economics. It's all business. But the question of, does Coach Prime deserve $11 million? Does he deserve to be paid the same amount that some of these winning coaches are getting paid? That answer is up to the Board of Regents. It ain't up to any of us. It doesn't even matter what we say. They're going to do the math based upon the needs of the university and what they believe Coach Prime is worth as far as a coach is concerned and what he brings to the table. Trust me, these people are not stupid. Rick George, I made a video about Rick George. He's a money man. That boy nasty with it. Go watch that video about Rick George that I made. You'll get a better understanding of how nasty he is. He's a great negotiator. He came from Major League Baseball. Go check his background. Go watch that video and you'll understand. He understands Coach Prime's value. He understands what he brings to the table. Don't think for 1 second that Rick George ain't trying to keep the coach. His winningest coach so far is going to be attached to his legacy and his name at the university since he's been there. He ain't just playing around. Rick George is not going to be playing around with the negotiations. Even though he told Coach Prime resistance does not mean that Rick George ain't doing his due diligence to try to make sure that Coach Prime is retained. You must retain Coach Prime. You don't let $200 million plus go, we're going to bring in a new guy. You don't do that. Resistance to Rick George is like saying yes because he's a money guy. They're probably just laughing when Rick George says resistance. Rick George is probably like, look, don't even worry about it, Prime. We got you. Even though there's a little bit of resistance, these people know what time it is. They understand who you are. So I'm very confident that Rick George is doing what he has to do to make sure that he retained his coach that he was able to bring in. Every AD has their legacy to uphold. I believe it's part of that Rick George video video, and you'll learn a little bit more about the different ADs and who they were able to bring in. Coach Prime and Rick George are pretty much tied together. Rick George went out and got Coach Prime. Coach Prime delivered 9-4 and the Heisman to Colorado. Now, Rick George is going to do everything it takes for that. That looks like a picture, but I guarantee you, I've been there. That right there is not a photo. That is actually the actual thing. Okay, but anyways, for what Coach Prime has been able to deliver, this guy right here, he's going to be first round draft pick. Travis is going to be first round. There's probably maybe a couple of second rounders in Colorado. So Coach Prime has already done that. Let me ask you, the fan base, do you think Coach Prime deserves to be paid like some of the highest paid coaches in college football? I want to hear your real thoughts. Put your real thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss it. Everything that you want from a winning coach on day number one, he's already provided all of that. What that tells me is that's a value that you do not want to lose. You want to keep that. But I'm going to leave it right there, and I'll see you. Get it? See you on the next video. Okay.